Hunter Coleman,
How are you?
Mark Massey.
Good to meet you.
As you know, I'm the CEO of a company called Trinzio. We do cybersecurity
Yeah.
solutions. And I hear great things about you and wanted to take some time and get to know you a little bit and,
Thanks, yeah.
and ask a few questions for you, or ask a few questions to see if you'd be a good fit for our open position as a customer advocate, advocacy. It's an open position that we have at Trinzio.
Okay.
So the role of this position is it's a combination of account management and customer support.
Okay.
Okay? So do you have any questions about the role of that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Okay. I'm going to take some notes along the way, ask you a few questions. Is that okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
With
No
you?
worries. Yeah.
Okay. So, first off, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I just grew up here in Bountiful, just went to Woods Cross High down there. As captain, played on the football team, NHS, graduated honor student. When I graduated, I went on a mission to Guatemala City, and there I learned Spanish, just served people, taught people, learned a lot.
Fluent in Spanish?
I'm conversational, not fluent, so I can kind of make it through, but I'm not
Okay.
100% with my Spanish for sure. And now I'm studying at Utah Valley, studying finance, and just get my degree through there. So
Okay.
that would be an awesome job to work through school with.
What do you want to do with a finance degree? Why did you choose that?
Personally, I just want to learn finance. Like I want to learn the accounting, econ, all the stuff around finance, so I know it. So that later in life, when I go to do business and sales and all that stuff, I have a greater understanding about it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's get into some of the questions.
Okay.
It sounds like you're a go-getter. I'm sure there have been moments in your life that you have shown or taken initiative. Can you tell me about a time that you showed initiative?
Okay, yeah, for sure. The first thing that comes to mind for me is when I decided to go on my mission. I was just kind of waiting around, maybe going to go to school, maybe work. I didn't really know for sure. But then one day I just kind of had a thought and feeling, and just something happened, and I just decided right then to go on a mission. And then I made it happen and left in like 2 months. So I just thought, just wanted to take initiative at that moment and decided right then, and I went forward and did it.
Okay. What prompted you to get started?
What prompted me to get started, I just talked to someone that I was really close with, like a good mentor in my ward actually, and they just talked to me more about it and all the way that it'll help me grow and be better in my life moving forward. So I just decided I really need to do this and decided to move forward with it.
And it was hard and changed your life and
Yes, very hard to change my life a lot.
for the good.
Oh yeah.
What was the most useful criticism you ever received from an immediate supervisor?
The most useful criticism, I would say that'd probably be on my mission as well. Just because I was never in real leadership, just because I wasn't there the entire time because of the virus. But in my training, when I was on my mission, I had my trainer just give me a lot of strict advice all the time, because that was his job. And a lot of the time it was just like, the one thing that I remember the most is just to love the people and to just be as personal as possible and not worry about everything else. So he just was super strict with me about that he wanted me to love everyone. And
Did you struggle with that? Because if you ask, the question was, how did you, it was about accepting or receiving criticism. Is that what transpired?
It was not a struggle at all, but I just think at the beginning of my mission, I was so focused on learning Spanish, learning the doctrine, doing good, everything perfect right at the beginning, that I wasn't focusing on it as much as I wanted to be,
Yeah.
because that was my real goal out there. So he just kind of opened my eyes, and it just helped me realize that that's what I need to be focused on more.
Okay,
So
great. Do you feel like you embraced that feedback, and did it achieve any positive outcome?
yeah, it for sure did. It kind of just did a 180 in my mind, and I flipped the way that I was looking at my mission and that experience, and just made it more about the people and not so about me and everything that I'm doing. So it made it a lot better, for sure.
Great. What do you feel you have to offer above the average employee?
So above the average employee, I would just say that I'm not really average in any way that I do things. I try to make sure that I'm always just doing things to the best of my abilities. So one thing I would say is, like, I work really hard. So I have done two summers of summer sales where you just go door to door knocking and out in the heat, grinding all day, every day. So I know how to work hard, and I know how to get things that I want to get. So above the average employee, I would just say I work really hard, and I'm really determined to get what I want.
Awesome. Give me an example of accomplishing daily responsibilities and goals that would kind of illustrate you being above average.
Okay. One thing I like to do just every single day is wake up and just go right to the gym. So I'll usually just wake up, get my stuff ready, and leave. Turn on a podcast or some just kind of more motivational stuff. And while I'm there, I just try to give myself as much motivation for the day and set my day off on the right foot. That way that I already have momentum moving into the day, that I'm usually going to work a lot harder throughout the day.
Okay. Describe a time when you elevated the level of value you brought to a customer over time.
Okay. So this makes me think of when I was in Delaware doing pest control sales.
Yeah.
I knocked on this one guy's door, super cool, friendly guy, needed our service. So I signed him up for our basic pest control service. But just as I got to know him more, and kind of as his family, as I visited him kind of regularly throughout the summer, I just thought he was a super cool guy. I just kind of upgraded him to our more premium service just because I really liked him, and his house kind of needed it more, but I just didn't charge him anymore just because I really liked him. So I just kind of took it out of my pay and upgraded him on that, just because he was such a good guy, and we just had good rapport. So.
So you took care of him, and what do you think that does for that customer long term, and what value does it bring to the company?
I think it brings a lot of future value. Excuse me. Just because when you really take care of your customers and you keep them on longer, it's much easier to just get references, referrals. So a lot of people bring it on more as new customers. And if you kind of keep doing that same outlook on everyone, you're just going to get a bigger clientele. And that's kind of what happened. He gave me his mom and his sister, so I signed them up as well. And it just kind of got bigger as well.
You actually got more business because you took care of that customer.
Yeah, so because I took care of him well, and he knew that I was trustworthy and that I actually would keep my promises, I got more revenue for the company, and myself received more money as well.
Yeah, so you got 3 customers for that one.
Right, exactly.
That's great. That's a great example.
Thank you.
Can you recall a time when you were less than pleased with your performance?
Less than pleased. Yeah, I think with solar, that's what I did this summer. I sold solar. I think at the beginning it was a lot bigger learning curve than pest control was. So there were times when I would leave a sale without for sure giving it my all. I think there were some objections I didn't overcome as well as I should have. And I kind of walked out of it feeling like I worked not as hard as I should have on that sale. just because I don't think I knew everything. So,
So it was knowledge.
I
You
think it's knowledge.
needed more knowledge to be able to address the concerns the customer had. So what did you do about that?
I just studied harder, learned more about my pitch, learned more how to overcome those objections, and made myself like stronger in my weak points in those conversations, so that next time I was able to overcome those objections and move forward.
Great. Are you competitive?
I would say
You
I'm
like to
competitive. I love to compete. I love playing football, sports, weightlifting throughout my life. But at the same time, I don't think I'm so competitive that it overcomes or takes over who I am. I like to have fun and compete, but it's like at the end of the day, winning's not everything to me.
Okay. Tell me a specific situation where your competitiveness helped you achieve better results than your peers.
Okay. So when I was a senior in high school, I was kind of doing a marketer sales thing for Farmers Insurance through the end of my high school. And I was working with some of my buddies that I was kind of already competitive with through playing football with them. And our boss, this one week, just had a big competition going on. And I ended up winning the competition just because I think I wanted to do better than them. Not because I wanted to earn more money or anything like that. I just wanted to beat these guys. So I ended up working harder, staying later, like calling more people, and staying in the cell a lot longer than I would have regularly. So
Yeah, that's being competitive.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
yes, competitiveness is good.
That's great. That's a great example. Okay. Think of an example when one of your customers was not pleased with something you or your team did. What was the situation and how did you recover?
First thing that comes to my mind is when I was in Delaware again doing pest control. This one lady that I had signed up probably like a week prior, I woke up at 8 in the morning to her calling me. My personal line, I had like 4 missed calls and I answered and she was just super mad about the service. She said she saw bugs and all this stuff. So I just ended up calling our company, getting her a free retreatment and just making sure she was totally taken care of. And then after that, she was super happy. She talked to me all throughout the summer just how great our service was and how our company actually takes care of people, and she was super happy. So just kind of overcame that little objection, got her a free retreatment, and she was pleased.
Awesome. Give an example of a time when you successfully persuaded your peers to change their minds and follow your recommendations. I'm sure you saw that in your sales roles and on your mission.
Yeah, for sure. So was the question a time when I helped my peers come with, like, what was that question again?
Give me an example of a time when you successfully persuaded your peers to change their minds and follow your recommendations.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll use an example from my summer sales again as well, just because I've done a lot of it. So when I was in Delaware, at the end of the summer, it gets super hard to work just because you've kind of earned a lot of money, and that's why a lot of people go. So at the end of August, a lot of people didn't want to work like at all during the day. They would just kind of sit in their car and stuff. And that's hard because you go out in groups. So when there's 2 other people sitting in the car and you're the only one wanting to work, it's super hard to work. So there was a few days when I was just like, guys, like, we have to go work. Like, we're just sitting out here doing nothing. There's no reason not to work. So I ended up just talking to them, convincing them to just go out and give it a try. And then we ended up working late that day even, and we all produced good numbers, and we're super glad we worked instead of just sitting in the car.
So your leadership led to that.
Yeah, on that, yeah.
That's a great example. Okay, couple more questions. Share a time when you were able to directly attribute your probing skills to solve a problem with a difficult customer.
Okay, so probing, like digging under the surface?
Asking a series of questions to really understand what their concerns were so that you could get down to the bottom of it.
Okay, yeah, so that would bring me back to solar, just because when we did solar, when you're giving presentations, people have a lot of questions just because it is a bigger purchase than pest control. So a lot of the time I would just start off with asking, why are you even interested in this at all? And then it kind of just like shows their need a little bit more. And then depending on what they would say their need was, I'll just kind of ask a different littler question to dive into that and just try to pinpoint that need so that that customer knows exactly what they're getting and it knows exactly how it's taking care of them.
Okay.
That way, everything that we did and said would be based off of that need so that they would feel more comfortable with everything going on.
Great. Tell me about a time when you identified a new, unusual, or different approach for addressing a problem or task.
A new or different approach to a task.
Like you just changed things. So you did something differently and it proved to be.
Okay. When I was in Guatemala on my mission, there was one time when me and my trainer were just walking the streets coming home, I think for lunch. So it's super hot outside. Lots of people just walking the streets. We're just talking to random people. And we saw this one lady. She was probably about 5 feet tall, probably like 80 pounds, super tiny, small lady. And she was carrying this basket on her head that looked like it was probably her body weight. So I saw my companion, I was like, bro, like, let's go help her. So we ran up, grabbed the basket, and she was walking the opposite way. So we ended up walking probably 2 miles extra down the road to help her. So we just kind of went out of our way, something we wouldn't usually do. And it ended up, she was someone just kind of seeking out religion, not really knowing her type. And we ended up having more lessons with her and ended up baptizing her daughter. So a different approach to normal things, like not everyone would see the opportunity and take it, but we took it and ended up blessing their lives. So
Okay, that is outstanding. Okay, well, I think I've got through the questions that I wanted to ask you. I think that we have a few more candidates that we're looking at.
okay.
But I really appreciate your candidness, and I see some real synergies. You have a great capacity to do this job.
Yeah.
And we'll be making a decision in the next couple of days.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.